What is up, Go World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another Goat format video. This past Sunday was the PWCQ number 35, and it was a spectacular event. 53 duels from all over the Goat world showed up, and it was a slobberknocker from beginning to end. What a very well-run tournament. Shout out to all the tournament organizers and all the people behind the scene that made that happen. Also, shout out to all the duelists that showed up to that event, and everyone who was kicking it with your boy JDZ as we were rocking that thing live all day long. But today we're going to come back with some spice. We had to hit the spice up because this was some cool decks in the top 8 list. Unfortunately, the Burn Queen Pui could not join me. There was some scheduling conflict, but we had to, the show must go on. We're going to keep it rocking. So without further ado, we're going to get this bad boy going. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. All right, moving on. Coming in at 8th place, we have King Snail doing his thing, playing the Go Control deck. This duelist jumped on the scene sometime during the last dueling season, and he's been playing this Go Control strategy pretty consistently the entire time. Now he's electing to kind of adopt more of the German engineering style Go Control deck. You'll notice the D-Mock is there. He's got the Abyss Soldier in there, some magical merchants in there doing his thing. Elect to bump it up to 3 scapegoats and 2 creature swap. Triple draw greed, no solemn, but the spicy inclusion in this deck. This duelist has elected to run the Summoner of Illusions. How cool is that? The Summoner of Illusion, if you don't know, that card is a light spellcaster flip effect monster that states tribute one other monster, and if you do, special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, but you must destroy it during the end phase of this turn. You're already playing 3 copies of Scapegoat. Okay, this thing is a flip effect, and another cool interaction this card has: if you bring out the Fiend Skull Dragon, that card will negate the effect of the Summoner of Illusion, so you will just go ahead and keep that Fiend Skull Dragon on your side of the field. I think that's a really spicy inclusion. I'll have to jump back in and see how that duelist performed with this card, or if it came up in any of those replays. And then you got the full Trinity. You're going to go ahead. Also in the side deck, there's some spice. This duelist is electing to maintain the Wombat, which I don't think is a bad choice for a deck like this. You don't really have too many walkable items, but you also don't want to just freely give burn wins. So you're going to go back to the Wombat, back to the Yugioh, back to the Mobius. You got the Fusilier in there, so you can also make your King Dragoon. And this duelist also has been taking the DD Designator for some time. This card is also quite good as well. DD Designator, if you don't know, is a normal spell card that says declare one card name, look at your opponent's hand. If they have that declared card in their hand, remove from play that one card. If they don't have that declared card name in your hand, you have to remove one, banish one random card from your own hand. So it has a little drawback effect, but 99.9% of the time, you're going to play it. You're going to hit that Sinister Serpent. You're going to hit that Thunder Dragon. You're going to hit that Assura Priest that's giving you all these problems. You're going to hit that Tsukiyomi. So I think that card can be used in this metagame, and Gary G is making it happen. So I like this deck. I think it's really cool. Spicy Go Control. Tell us what you think about this deck. Again, shout out to Gary G for doing well. King Snail making it to that top 8 position. Okay, moving on to number 7. Number 7, no stranger to these events and no strangers to having great success in Go format. It is none other than Ivan Rosito, again playing the Chaos Turbo strategy. This duelist, if you're playing Chaos Turbo or if that's your thing, make sure you're always tracking what this duelist is doing. He puts a lot of time, energy, and effort into this deck, and is always trying to tweak it to find the best, most optimal version of this deck. And this is what he landed on for this event. You'll notice he got the one Knight Assailant, the one Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer in the main deck, which is taboo if you know Ivy. You know what he's saying. He's kind of flexing some ideas. He's kind of growing and changing and developing in some of the theories. He's got the Kaiku, the Ghost Destroyer, 2 Jar Greeds, and a bevy of one of trap cards. So he's electing to go with a sack variety of turbo. Both discard traps, 1 Wing Blast, 1 Regeki Break, 1 Ring, 1 Dust Shoot, and 1 Solemn Judgment is going to be the trap lineup. Solid turbo deck. In the side deck, we got 1 Zumbira, 1 Berserker Gorilla, 1 Kaiko to go straight. So he's continuing the sack methodology throughout the rest of this side deck. Triple Sakaretsu Armor, 1 Mystic Walk, and then another Regeki Break, another Trap Dust Shoot, Zing Zang Hu in the side deck, and a Solemn Judgment. So as far as spice is concerned, upon initial inspection, you'll say, hey, this deck isn't very spicy at all. But if you know the duelist that is running this deck, this is definitely some certified spice coming from our GFC champion, Ivan Rosito. So shout out to that duelist. I'm sure he's going to get several more invitations before this dueling season is over. All right, moving on to number 6. We have Shogun Lopez. Speaking of GFC champions, we got another GFC champion in the building. Shogun Lopez showed up. He's played Warrior, he's played Turbo, but this time this duelist elected to go with a Chaos Return strategy, and I think this one's also pretty cool, bringing in the main deck skill Shield Dark Magician, 2 copies of Return. I think these are some great ratios, kind of making it more aggressive, similar to what Indoors has been doing and other Return players are doing on the more of aggressive side. It's kind of maintaining it more of an aggressive approach. I think this deck is also pretty cool, man. I love to see it. I love to see Return. I didn't get to see any of the Returns activate live on the stream, but I'm certain that this duel is having great effects with those throughout the tournament. 2 Regeki breaks I think might be also a great inclusion as well. You have the Thunder Dragon to discard fodder. You have other things that you can discard to either pump your Bazoo the Soul Eater, or maybe feed your right minerals to pump up your Chaos and make your Return play that way. I think this deck is pretty solid. He's got all the standard staples and stuff in the side deck. We got 2 Assura, 2 Kinetic, 2 Wangu, really respecting that Go Control deck. A lot of duelists aren't respecting Go Control anymore. I love to see that. And then you got the spell counters in there, so he's also showing some love for the Reasoning Gate style stuff, so that's also pretty cool. And everything else seems to be pretty standard, but this is a dope deck. This is another style of Chaos Return, which is a severely underplayed deck, so I love to see these dope players coming out playing dope decks, doing their dope thing. So again, shout out to Shogun Lopez. Hopefully come on back in the Ghost. We want to see what you got going on. He's been playing a lot of Current, but maybe he can find his way back in the Ghost, playing this cool Chaos Return deck. Tell us what you think about it. Definite spice here in the building. Okay, moving on to number 5. And number 5, this is the spiciest deck of the day. We saw this deck come up on stream a few times, and every time I was like, what is going on? It was blowing my mind. I really didn't understand it, and now I really don't even understand it even more. I wish Pui was here so she could just throw herself out of the chair when she sees this absolute monstrosity that you see before you. As I look at this deck, I do not understand how this duelist can draw a hand of 6 cards and not absolutely brick out of his bits and wits. But this duelist was absolutely cooking all day long, and he's playing the Soul Control Reasoning Gate Monarch deck. That's what I'm going to call this, Soul Control Reasoning Gate Monarch, and it is insane to look at. And I saw this duel is absolutely going crazy. Shout out to a new challenger doing their thing, bringing some new ideas. I mean, this deck, it takes Reasoning Gate is a pretty clear-cut deck. Monarchs is a pretty clear-cut deck. You know, Soul Control is a pretty clear-cut deck, but just to jam them all together in a way that still is kind of cohesive and makes sense, because you have a lot of 6s. I think 6 is a pretty safe call for these reasonings, but you got 5s in there, you got 7s in there, you got DMOC coming in at 8, you got some 4s, 3s, 1s, 2s. It's hard to get that Reasoning Gate call right, so that's pretty cool. Monster Gate bringing out these blowbacks, and those blowbacks, his blowbacks are different. Everybody else blowbacks, you're not going to hit him like New Challenger was hitting those blowbacks all day Sunday, so that's pretty cool. And then you got Soul X, a blowback for a potential pop, Soul X for Zaborg for a potential pop. You got Cyberstein coming on out there, and it's just, it seems like it can do a lot, man. It seems like it can do a lot, and the side deck still, you can actually change your levels up a little bit more to go more Reasoning Gate if you need to. This deck is built to grind. It looks like it's not trying to OTK too much, but it definitely can have OTK potential. So I think this deck is a really crazy deck to play, and I really enjoy watching this duelist use it. I might have to try a deck like this in the future. Blowback Dragon, I always knew this card was busted. I know Zaborg is busted, and this duelist is absolutely proving what those cards can do in our metagame. So the metagame is not completely solved yet, because you got duelists like a New Challenger trying stuff like this and having it work out. I know for a fact if I try to load this deck, this thing is going to brick so hard I'm gonna die. I don't know how New Challenger pulled it off, but they did. Shout out to you for a 5th place finish. Hopefully you can continue to play in these events. We want to see more of what you got. Definite certified Spice Lord in training in the building. We're going to see what New Challenger is doing. Shout out to you. Congratulations for your 5th place finish, and we are going to move it right along. But tell us what you think about this deck. Get down there. You got Cyberstein. Oh my goodness. You got Fusilia, the dual mode beat. You got a lot of things you can do with this deck, and this duelist is doing a lot of that stuff, giving duelists panics all day, flipping that Blowback Dragon, doing this thing, triple blowback in the building. All right. Moving on to number 4. Number 4, we got another return style deck, and this is the World Champion. Okay, this is the return deck. This is the return main event right here. So whenever you see this duel and he's rocking this toga wearing Shining Angel, guard your head and neck, because this return may be imminent, and this duel is absolutely doing this thing the only way you know that he can do it. Okay, Chaos got his Black Luster Soldier, you got the Sork, you got them Zaborgs in there that this duelist loves. You got these Gravekeeper Spies. It is a typical Dingo style deck. We only elected to go with the one return and some more Jarkrees in there. Really trying to bank on having that return. Maybe this duelist could have pumped that up a little bit more. I like seeing 2 returns, but I'm just all about balance. Maybe I'm wrong. This duelist has done the analysis and research and understood what this deck needs to do. So shout out to the World Champ. They know what's going on. But the side deck seems pretty standard. You got your Assure, you got your Mobius, you got this Roulette Barrel, which was doing great against the Warrior strategy that was coming up, and you have the rest of the cards that you come to know and love. Pretty standard stuff. One Mystic Walk in the side deck is turning out to be a pretty standard line. So burn players, keep an eye on that. All these duels are kind of reducing their Mystic Walk count, so keep that in mind. A lot of these duels are also increasing their Solemn Judgment count. Burn players, look out. There might be a hole slowly opening up for you in this metagame, so keep it. Absolutely keep your eyes peeled this entire time. Got the zinger in there as well. Double trap does shoot. Okay, so this is what the World Champion took. This is kind of where return's at right now. So if you're a return player, always imitate and duplicate what the World Champion is doing, and you might have those same results. Shout out to you, Dingo Sig, for your 4th place finish. Love to see it. Okay, moving on to Krebs. You got Krebs in the building. Another fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh player, dope player Krebs. It looks like Krebs is playing just a pretty standard Chaos Turbo deck. This duelist can play return too. I thought this duelist was on return. Maybe I was tripping. I have to look at it. But this duelist is playing a pretty standard, pretty safe max ratio Chaos Turbo deck. You have triple Dekoichi, triple Magician of Faith, triple Spy, no Night Assailant. You got triple Thunder Dragon. It seems very consistent. It's built for the sturdy ruggedness of the duel. You know, he's got all the traps except for no TT. No TT is in the main deck. We're going to go triple Solemn, triple Jar, double Rikeki Break. You got the Mirror and the Ring of Destruction. Going to be a trap lineup for this. Side deck seems pretty standard as well. You got one mind over here, one mind over there. I think that's pretty neat. You got Kudako's Destroyer, and you also have a double Mystic Walk back for this duelist. So again, pretty standard Chaos Turbo deck. I like this deck. I like these ratios too. This one is a very unforgiving one though. So if you want to come with this deck, you gotta really make sure your technical play is solid, because you start soloing stuff too soon and you don't have, you know, it's no way to, you know, you can't really beat your way out of it. But this is a pretty solid Chaos Turbo deck as well, and also a solid duelist. Shout out to Krebs for coming in with that 3rd place finish. I think that is pretty neat. Okay, moving on to number 2. Number 2, I did elect to leave the Carl Pro weight in here. If you don't know, if spoiler alert, if you tuned into this event, there was a disqualification, so this duelist was in fact disqualified from this event, but I did just leave it in there because I just wanted to show that deck. And I think this is the submitted deck that the duelist was using. I just wanted to continue to put the information out about Chaos Turbo and different styles and ways that you can play it, and this is the style and way that this duelist elected to use it. He's still a very skilled and talented duelist. He did elect to come forth with that information on their own volition, you know, so definitely no ill will going towards Carl Wade. I think he's a very respectable player for doing that. A lot of players would have rolled the dice and see if they could have got away with it. This duelist did come forward with that information, but there was a disqualification. But this is a deck they decided to use, Chaos Turbo deck. I still think it's pretty cool. Triple Kaiko is kind of interesting as well, with one Minecon in the side deck. So again, tell us what you think about this deck. It is very unfortunate that this duelist had to get disqualified, but it is what it is. He was on the winner's side of the finals, but you know, he had the wrong deck loaded up and just happened to make that mistake, and it was a crucial mistake. So again, shout out to Carl Wade. No hate, but you know what, it is what it is. All right, so moving on with that, moving on to our winner. Our winner in first place finish is going to be Not So Fast, and again, not taking anything away from Not So Fast. This duelist was playing out of his mind. This duelist was going insane in that tournament. In that bracket, this duelist lost round 1. This duelist went to the loser side in round 1. He's got that dog, and he fought all the way from the loser side in round 1 all the way up to the grand finals, and he beat some of the very best duelists in our entire game using this deck. And I'm going to call this deck Flip Warriors. I think Flip Warriors has returned. I think this deck is cool as hell. It seems so hard to play against. I saw what he was doing in game 1, and I was like, how do you side against this? How do you play against this? What is going on? Because you don't really know what those ratios look like. He's got one blade night, but it felt like he's got 19 blade nights. Those rotors were hitting so hard. Those kaikus were hitting so hard. Those Grey Cues, it was just so much. In game one, they come out, they knock the Magician of Faith, they lose their faith. They knock those spies, they lose their spies. Then you still got this aggro package that can come after your opponent. You know, if they don't, your spies are flipping, your face are flipping, it's great, and you still can come over the top and start beating your opponent to death with it. Upstart goblins were going crazy. I think this trap lineup is also pretty neat. You know, it's got the Solemn Judgments in there, which is the backbone of the lineup. One Sakuretsu Armor, one Mirror Force, one Torrential Tribute, Call of Haunted. No trap that shoots in the main, no dust tornadoes in the main. But if you look at it and the way this duelist might be playing it, and he's setting, you know, he goes Blade Knight and bring out, you know, X amount of cards, you'll only assume that some of those are going to be some dust tornadoes or whatever, but they're real cards, and it was absolutely going crazy. And again, I can't say enough about this duelist prowess. Shout out to Team Bones for representing and showing up and getting an invitation to Go Format World Championship. So that is really neat. So shout out again to Not So Fast, the Bulgarian bracket busting bullet, doing his thing, representing very well, and I love this deck. So this is the Spice Report. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think about these cool decks. I think it is awesome. I think it was again, it was a spectacular event. I really enjoy doing those events. The next event, there's going to be the very shortest turnaround we've ever had in a PWCQ since we've been doing this circuit. Okay, usually there's like weeks in between, but this Saturday, okay, like literally this weekend again, there's going to be PWCQ 36. Okay, just because some scheduling conflicts and everything, so these things had to be kind of jammed in there. So if you want to play, you can play this Saturday. I think we're doing that one at noon. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but get into the Discord and check it out. There's going to be another PWCQ, and then on Sunday the very next day, so you got PWCQ on Saturday, literally the 23rd, okay, there's going to be an FLC, which is a major Go Format tournament. So use your PWCQ to prep for your Format Library Championship, and it's going to be a GOAT spectacular weekend. So I look forward to seeing all of you there and participating. If you can't, make sure you just come on in the stream. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be hosting that event again. Everyone's kind of busy, so I'll be rocking and rolling that stream all day long on Saturday, and then I will probably be playing in the Format Library Championship on Sunday. So I hope to see all of you there for both of those events, and we're going to make it absolutely happen. But as always, until then, I'm JDZ. I play Ghosts. Until the next time, shout out to all the real ones. That's all of you. Salute to the OGs. Peace.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.